Greetings, seekers of truth, and a warm welcome to the morale. I want you to close your eyes and imagine standing at the base of a massive, imposing mountain. It is a monolith so towering that its peak vanishes into the dark clouds above, and so impossibly wide that you cannot see around its edges. Now, imagine that this mountain is not made of rock, stone, or earth. It is made of fear. It is constructed from your deepest insecurities, your chronic self-doubt, your suppressed pain, and most terrifyingly of all, it is made of every single part of you that has actively held you back from greatness. That mountain is you. Today, we are diving into a profound, life-altering masterpiece. The mountain is you, transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery by Brianna Wiest. In this deep dive, we are going to tear down the greatest illusion of human behavior. Wiest makes one thing brutally, undeniably clear. Self-sabotage is not laziness. It is not an inherent weakness. It is not a moral failure. Self-sabotage is a biological and psychological survival mechanism. It is your own brain desperately trying to protect you from the terrifying discomfort of change. But in doing so, it traps you in toxic cycles that slowly, methodically destroy your happiness and your ultimate potential. We all claim we want better lives. We want elite habits, deep relationships, and staggering results. But the hardest, most bitter pill to swallow is this. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and everything you have ever wanted is you. If you are ready to stop running from your own shadows, to conquer the mountain of your own mind, and to finally step into the life you were meant to live, listen closely. Let us begin the climb. Part 1. The Anatomy of Self-Sabotage. Why do you destroy the very things you pray for? You sabotage your own success because success feels dangerous and unfamiliar. You incinerate loving relationships because true intimacy feels incredibly unsafe. You constantly procrastinate because making actual progress feels like a massive, terrifying risk. You numb your feelings with distractions because actually feeling them seems utterly overwhelming. The mountain we all have to climb is not out there in the physical world. It is buried deep inside our own subconscious. And until we brutally face it, we will keep repeating the exact same destructive patterns, feeling hopelessly stuck and wondering why our lives never change. Let us get honest for a minute. You've probably felt this, that quiet, creeping, agonizing feeling where every time you take one monumental step forward, an invisible force drags you 2 steps back. You desperately want to be better, but somehow you never quite arrive. That is not a streak of bad luck. That is the dark art of self-sabotage. And here's the most terrifying truth. Most of us do not even realize we are doing it. We disguise our sabotage. We call it being realistic. We tell ourselves, I'm just not ready yet, or maybe next time, or I'm waiting for the perfect moment. But under the surface, you are violently getting in your own way. Why? Because self-sabotage is your mind's misguided way of shielding you from pain. You see, your brain is biologically wired for safety, not for happiness. Your primitive nervous system does not care if you achieve your wildest dreams. It does not care if you reach enlightenment or financial freedom. It only wants you to survive. It wants to avoid anything that is uncertain, uncomfortable, or unfamiliar. Every single time you have been hurt in the past, your brain took rigorous notes. Every time you failed, your brain built a thick, defensive wall. Every time someone abandoned you, your brain screamed, "Never again." So now, when you finally get a legitimate shot at something beautiful, a great job, a healthy relationship, a brilliant creative project, your brain does not celebrate. It violently panics. It whispers in the dark, This is too risky. This is unknown territory. Let's back out. Let's purposely mess this up before it has the chance to hurt us. And so, the sabotage begins. You ghost people who genuinely care about you. You avoid the critical interview. You infinitely delay the launch of your business. You scroll mindlessly on your phone instead of starting your work. You shrink into the shadows exactly when you should stand up and shine. It doesn't look like intentional self-destruction. It just looks like being tired. But underneath the exhaustion, it is pure fear wearing a clever disguise. Brianna Wiest calls it exactly what it is. Self-sabotage is a coping mechanism that has passed its expiration date. It might have successfully protected you when you were a child navigating a traumatic environment, but today, it is the iron cage blocking you from the life you actually deserve. The masks of sabotage. Self-sabotage is a master of disguise. It shows up as procrastination. You delay your work not because you are fundamentally lazy, but because the weight of potential success feels too heavy to carry. Perfectionism. You never launch your project because you convinced yourself nothing is ever good enough, perfectly protecting you from the vulnerability of criticism. Overthinking. You analyze every possible route until you paralyze yourself with microscopic doubts, ensuring you never have to take a real step. People-pleasing. You bury your own authentic needs to keep everyone else happy, even if it leaves your own soul completely empty. Addiction to chaos. You intentionally create unnecessary drama because quiet peace feels unfamiliar and suspicious. The very first step to healing this is awareness. You must become a ruthless detective in your own life. You must ask yourself the deepest questions. Where am I stuck? What toxic patterns keep repeating? What dreams have I placed on infinite hold? What pain am I dragging around that I refuse to heal? You are not crazy. You are not doomed. You are not fundamentally broken. You are just running outdated programming. You are operating on a defensive software your mind built when it thought you were under attack. But you have outgrown that system. You are ready for more. The moment you recognize your sabotage, you severely weaken its grip. You must stop asking the victim's question, "Why do I keep messing everything up?" and start asking the leader's question, "What am I absolutely terrified will happen if I don't?" That is the profound question. What part of you does not believe you actually deserve good things? Maybe you fear success because you think it will bring unbearable pressure and expectations. Maybe you fear healthy love because you subconsciously expect inevitable abandonment. Maybe you fear healing itself because your pain has become your entire identity and you don't know who you are without it. But none of that is your true self. It is just where you have been. You do not have to stay there. You are allowed to be terrified and still take aggressive action. You are allowed to feel entirely unworthy and still ruthlessly pursue your dreams. Because feelings are not hard facts. They are just biological signals. You are not weak for sabotaging yourself. You were just trying to survive. But now it is time to thrive. Part 2. The addiction to chaos. Let us talk about something highly uncomfortable but undeniably real. You claim you want peace. You say you want success, radiant happiness, and deep stability. Why then does chaos feel exactly like home? Why do you keep magnetically ending up in the exact same toxic messes over and over again? The brutal truth is that a deep part of you is addicted to the struggle, not because you are naturally dramatic or seeking attention, but because at some critical point in your development, chaos became your normal, pain became your baseline, and now genuine peace feels deeply suspicious. Calmness feels suffocatingly boring. True happiness feels like a trap that cannot possibly last. So, you subconsciously sabotage the good. You chase emotionally unavailable people. You create tension and arguments when a relationship is going perfectly well. You overthink a simple situation until it causes you physical pain. Why? Because struggle is what your nervous system knows best. Your nervous system was wired in an environment that did not feel safe. Perhaps you grew up surrounded by yelling, severe instability, emotional absence, or crushing expectations. Your body learned to live in a perpetual state of survival mode. So now, when the environment is finally quiet and safe, your body violently panics. It actively searches for the noise, the threat, and the drama because it believes that chaos is what keeps you alive. You are not crazy. You are conditioned. You are not weak for craving chaos, and you are not broken for feeling deeply uncomfortable in times of peace. It is like living in a terrifying haunted house long after the ghosts have been evicted, but still jumping in terror at every single creak in the floorboards. Trauma teaches your brain to constantly expect pain, even when the pain has long vanished. And this is a physical reality. Your heart races, your stomach churns, and your mind spirals, not because something is actually wrong, but because something finally feels right. And that rightness is terrifyingly foreign. You stir the pot. You poke holes in your own happiness. You pick jobs that drain your life force. You stay in habits that slowly kill you, all because you are trying to artificially recreate the pain you once survived, just so you can feel at home in your own discomfort. But here is the ultimate wake-up call. You do not have to live in the war zone anymore. You possess the neuroplastic ability to rewire your own nervous system. You can physically teach your body that peace is safe. You can teach your mind that happiness does not have to be paid for with suffering. But to do this, you must get brutally honest. Where do you create struggle when things feel easy? Where do you attract pain when you claim to want joy? Healing is not just about changing your thoughts. It is about changing your feelings. It is about teaching your body that a calm, loving relationship isn't boring, it is healthy. It is teaching yourself that waking up without crippling anxiety doesn't mean a disaster is coming. It means you are finally safe. This requires immense patience. Your brain demands proof. Start micro-small. When silence falls, breathe into it instead of fleeing from it. When someone offers you genuine love, let them love you without pushing them away. When your mind screams, "This is too easy, something is wrong," you must firmly answer back, "It is supposed to be easy." Choosing calm is the most rebellious, heroic act you can commit. You were not born to battle your own soul every single day. Let go of the toxic identity that says you are only strong if you are suffering. Part 3. The lethal cost of staying stuck. We inherently believe that change is a massive risk. We think that stepping into the great unknown is dangerous and that growing will cost us everything. And yes, growth will cost you your comfort. But here is the terrifying reality. Not changing will cost you infinitely more. Every single time you ignore your gut instinct, every time you stay silent when your soul screams to speak up, every time you hold on to a dead situation when you should let go, you pay a severe, agonizing price. It is not always a loud explosion. Sometimes it is a quiet, subtle decay. It drains your daily energy. It erodes your self-respect. It turns you into a hollow shell of the emperor you were meant to be. When you resist change, you are actively choosing comfort over growth. You are choosing the illusion of safety over absolute freedom. You are choosing familiar, miserable pain over unfamiliar, glorious possibility. And that is a lethal trade. You end up trapped in relationships that physically shrink you, jobs that intellectually numb you, and habits that financially drain you. You lie to yourself, saying, "I'm fine, it's not that bad. Maybe one day it will magically get better." But deep down in your marrow, you know the truth. You know you are meant for a grander stage. You know your life is not supposed to feel this small, this stuck, and this stifled. Change is terrifying, yes, but stagnation is a slow, suffocating death. Every single day you refuse to grow, you actively decay. Every year you ignore your ultimate potential, the mountain becomes harder to climb. You are building an entire existence around the architecture of fear instead of the architecture of freedom. The cost of not changing is not just lost time, it is a lost you. Ask yourself today, is the mediocre life you are currently living truly worth the agonizing price you are paying just to avoid a little discomfort? Part 4. The Art of Reparenting Yourself. There comes a harsh, defining moment in every human life where you must realize an absolute truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to swoop in and pick up the shattered pieces of your heart. No one is going to hand you the perfect blueprint for your life. That monumental job now belongs entirely to you. And that means, whether you like it or not, you have to learn how to parent yourself. For many of us, this is a heartbreaking realization. Many of us did not get the profound love, the fierce support, or the wise guidance we desperately needed when we were children. We were left to figure out a brutal world completely on our own. We were told our feelings were invalid, our grand dreams were silly, and our pain was imaginary. But Brianna Wiest states something incredibly powerful. The wound you carry is not your fault, but healing that wound is absolutely your responsibility. That healing ignites the exact second you decide to aggressively show up for yourself in the way no one else ever did. To reparent yourself means to guide your own life with deep wisdom. It means disciplining yourself with fierce love. It means encouraging yourself through the darkest terror and comforting yourself in the deepest pain. Think of it logically. A good, loving parent does not let a child eat chocolate cake for every single meal just because it feels good in the moment. A good parent does not let a child skip school simply because they feel tired. A good parent enforces necessary discipline even when it is highly uncomfortable because they care about long-term survival and growth, not short-term dopamine. Reparenting is not about bitterly blaming your actual parents for their failures. It is about stepping up and becoming the capable adult your younger self desperately needed. It means saying no to the toxic habits that try to hijack your life. It means soothing your own anxiety without reaching for alcohol, mindless scrolling, or toxic distractions. You must teach yourself how to stay in the room, how to try again, how to rest strategically when you are tired instead of quitting entirely. As you relentlessly show up for yourself, a monumental shift occurs. You begin to feel fundamentally safe inside your own mind. You stop begging for outside validation. You stop hoping a savior will arrive to fix your chaos, because you realize that you have been the savior all along. Therefore, parenting yourself means holding yourself to a ruthless standard of accountability, especially when nobody else is watching. It means setting ironclad boundaries, even when it makes other people angry. It means fiercely protecting your physical health, your finances, your daily habits, and your emotional stability, like your entire future depends on it, because it does. More importantly, it means radically changing your internal dialogue. You must learn to speak to yourself like someone you deeply love. You would never look a 5-year-old child in the face and scream that they are worthless because they made a minor mistake. So why do you tolerate speaking to yourself that way? You cannot shame yourself into greatness. You can only love yourself into healing. Part 5. True Emotional Intelligence. You have undoubtedly heard the corporate buzzword, emotional intelligence, but let us dissect what it actually means in the trenches of real life. Emotional intelligence is not about robotically controlling your feelings or forcing toxic positivity 24/7. It is the profound ability to understand what you feel, why you feel it, and how to respond rather than blindly react. That subtle difference changes the entire trajectory of your destiny. Building emotional intelligence is the absolute bedrock of self-mastery. Because when you do not understand your own emotions, they become dark forces that control your life from the shadows. How many times have you violently snapped at a loved one, not because of what they actually said, but because of some deep, unhealed shame or fear triggering inside you? That is what happens when you lack a relationship with your inner world. Emotions are not diseases. They are not problems to be solved. Emotions are messengers. Anger is a blazing signal showing you that a critical boundary has been crossed. Sadness is a heavy reminder that something truly mattered to your soul. Anxiety is your body's alarm system saying, pay close attention, but do not run away. When you build elite emotional intelligence, you stop treating your feelings like invading enemies. You stop being terrified of your own internal landscape. How do you build this? Awareness. Name it to tame it. Most people numb out and ignore their feelings until they explode. Step 1 is radically slowing down and naming the exact emotion. Instead of saying, I'm overwhelmed, be precise. Are you feeling deeply insecure? Are you feeling intensely lonely? Precision strips the emotion of its terrifying power. Curiosity. Instead of judging yourself for feeling sad or angry, become an internal scientist. Ask the emotion where it came from. Ask what fragile part of you it is trying to protect. Curiosity destroys shame. Regulation. This is not suppression. It is learning how to allow the emotion to physically move through your body using effective tools. It might be intense journaling, breath work, or lifting heavy weights. You learn that you do not have to fear the storm. You just have to know how to sail the ship through it. Empathy. When you master your own dark emotions, you instantly become vastly superior at understanding the darkness in others. You realize that when people attack you, they're usually just projecting their own agonizing, unhealed pain. You cannot out-hustle unhealed emotion. You cannot fake your way past suppressed trauma. You must feel it to heal it. When you build emotional intelligence, you stop making massive life decisions based on ancient fears, and you start responding like the healed, powerful architect of your future. Part 6. Releasing the chains of the past. Let us get painfully honest. You claim you want to move forward. You claim you want explosive growth and radiant happiness. But how can you possibly march forward when one of your legs is shackled in heavy iron to yesterday? Releasing the past is not about faking amnesia or pretending the horror didn't happen. It is not about toxic, blind optimism. It is about turning around, staring directly into the eyes of what happened to you, and consciously deciding to stop dragging that corpse into every single tomorrow. If you do not deal with your past, it will flawlessly repeat itself. Your unhealed trauma will simply put on a new mask and show up as your next romantic partner. Your unhealed wounds will dictate every choice you make, every boundary you fail to set, and every grand dream you are too terrified to chase. Holding on to the past feels familiar, and therefore, it feels safe. That agonizing pain you revisit every night, it has become a core part of your identity. That person you bitterly blame, by holding on to the anger, you are allowing them to still control you. So how do you release it? You start by actually feeling it. Most people aggressively avoid this. They stay maniacally busy and endlessly distracted. But healing begins when you stop running and finally sit alone in a quiet room with the parts of your soul that are bleeding. You must grieve the safe, loving childhood you were robbed of. You must grieve the relationship that shattered. You must grieve the innocent person you were before the world hardened you. You feel the pain fully, not to drown in it, but to let it burn out. Because buried pain does not die, it just waits in the dark for the next trigger. Releasing the past also means rewriting your survival story. The narrative that you are permanently broken, that it was all your fault, or that greatness is not meant for you, those are not empirical facts. Those are desperate stories your brain invented while surviving in chaos. But you are no longer in the war zone. You have the absolute power to rewrite the narrative. I am not a broken victim. I am the warrior who survived. Releasing the past absolutely requires forgiveness. And listen closely. Forgiveness does not mean saying the abuse was okay. It does not mean the perpetrator was right. Forgiveness is a selfish, liberating act. It is taking a sword and violently cutting the energetic cord between you and the person who hurt you. It is pulling the hook out of your own soul. It is declaring, I will not allow your toxic memory to infect my future. I deserve peace far more than I desire revenge. Finally, releasing the past means letting go of the old version of you. The version of you that built massive walls to survive. The version that shrank to avoid criticism. The version that stayed silent to keep the peace. That version of you did a phenomenal job keeping you alive. Thank them. But that version cannot take you to the empire you are building now. You must let the old self die so the emperor can be born. You must accept that the perfect closure you are waiting for may never arrive. The apology will never be sent. The universe may never serve the justice you crave. But you can choose peace anyway. Healing does not require permission from your abusers. You close the chapter because you deserve to write a masterpiece. Part 7. Architecting a New Future. You have faced the shadows. You have grieved the past. You have dropped the dead weight. Now the blank canvas awaits. It is time to build. Building a new future requires you to turn deep inward and ask a terrifying question. What kind of life do I actually want to live? Not the life your parents demanded. Not the life that looks impressive on social media. Not the life that feels the safest, but the life that calls to your soul so fiercely that it terrifies you. The future does not magically arrive on your doorstep. You physically construct it, one thought, one ironclad belief, and one aggressive action at a time. The most fatal mistake the masses make is waiting. They wait for a surge of magical confidence before they take the leap. They wait for a cosmic sign. They wait for the timing to be flawless. But confidence does not come first. Action generates confidence. You do not wait for the future. You violently create it. It starts with blistering clarity. What do you truly desire? Is it absolute financial freedom? Is it profound, unspoken peace? Is it creating world-class art? Define it with ruthless precision. Then get to work. Your future is built entirely on the foundation of your daily habits. You cannot forge a brand new empire using the exact same lazy thoughts, the same emotional reactions, and the same pathetic excuses of your past. Changing your life means changing what you do at 7 a.m. every single morning. It means saying a hard no when the old you would have caved and said yes. It means executing your tasks even when you are trembling with fear. Building a new future demands supreme resilience. There will be horrific setbacks. There will be days where you feel like you have fallen all the way back to the bottom of the mountain. But you do not climb a mountain in one smooth, effortless line. You slip on the ice. You scrape your knees. The key is that you never, ever stop climbing. Crucially, building this future means learning to receive. You have been locked in survival mode for so long, always bracing for the next punch, always anticipating betrayal, that your nervous system has forgotten how to safely accept joy. You must actively practice receiving love, success, and peace without instantly sabotaging it with guilt. Let life bless you. You have walked through hell to earn it. You must also deploy vision. You must vividly, emotionally see the version of you who has already conquered the mountain, the strong, healed, wealthy, unshakable version of you. And you must begin acting exactly like them right this second. Do not wait until the bank account is full to act like a leader. Embody the dominating energy of your future self today, and the physical evidence will have no choice but to catch up to you. Part 8. Meeting the new you. You have walked through the fire, unlearned the toxic survival tactics, and laid the bricks of your new empire. Now it is time to meet the entity waiting on the other side of the flames, the new you. But understand this reality. Becoming the new you is not a sudden cinematic explosion of light. It does not happen in one magical breakthrough. Becoming the new you is the agonizing, beautiful process of scraping off the mud of societal expectations and remembering who you were before the world corrupted you. It is not a destination you arrive at. It is a way of existing, and it emerges in the absolute quiet. It emerges in the mundane, ordinary moments where you choose to act differently. When a colleague insults you, and instead of exploding in rage, you pause and hold your peace. When you speak your raw truth, even if your voice is shaking, when you choose your own internal alignment over the cheap applause of the crowd. The new you does not emerge because you violently forced them into existence. They emerge because you finally cleared away the noise. You stopped distracting yourself with cheap dopamine. You stopped betraying your own soul just to keep toxic people comfortable. You got quiet, you listened, and the king or queen within you finally stepped forward. Do not expect this new version of yourself to feel instantly familiar. At first, standing in your own power will feel incredibly strange, deeply uncomfortable, and even terrifying. You have lived in the cramped, suffocating box of scarcity and fear for so long that the vast, open plains of freedom will induce vertigo. The version of you who trusts themselves, who sets iron boundaries, who loves fiercely and walks away from disrespect, will feel like a stranger. That is normal. New power always feels unnatural until it is mastered. But this new you operates from a core of unshakable truth. They do not hustle desperately for scraps of love. They do not chase external validation. They do not crumble when criticized by lesser minds, because this version of you is anchored to the bedrock of self-respect. And most importantly, the new you is entirely, undeniably free. Free from the paralyzing lie that you are too broken to succeed. Free from the ancestral patterns that kept your family in poverty. Free from the agonizing fear of being too much or not enough. Free from waiting for a savior to rescue you. You have rescued yourself. You have ripped the iron bars off your own mental prison. You have traded your excuses for execution. With every brave, silent act of self-respect, you have become the hero you spent your entire childhood waiting for. But the climb is never truly over. The new you will still get exhausted. You will still face terror. You will still make mistakes.
The profound difference is that now you do not spiral into a dark abyss of self-hatred. You observe the mistake, you course-correct, you forgive yourself, and you march forward. That is what ultimate strength looks like. So here we stand at the peak of the philosophy. After everything you have faced, the demons you have slain, the traumas you have survived, and the empire you have begun to build, you must internalize the ultimate defining truth. You are the mountain. You are not the obstacle. You are not the lingering pain. You are not the tragic past. You are the mountain. Brianna Wiest wrote this masterpiece to force you to realize that the terrifying, impossible thing you have been trying to conquer your entire life was always just a reflection of your own mind. The voice that doubted you, the walls that blocked you, the toxic cycles that trapped you, they were all generated from within.
But so is the conqueror, the unyielding strength, the raw courage to shatter those walls, and the profound wisdom to let go of the past. That limitless power has always resided in your own chest. You are the sole, undisputed architect of your reality. You have stopped fighting yourself. You have stopped running, numbing, and pretending. You have stopped begging for permission to be great. This is not an ending. It is a violent, beautiful awakening. Being the mountain means you now rise with undeniable purpose. You stand tall in your absolute worth. You become the unbreakable calm within your own storm. True transformation is not a loud, performative shout to the world. It is waking up every single morning and quietly choosing to be legendary. You are whole. You are the light. You are the path. You are the mountain.
Keep climbing, and whenever you feel lost in the fog, simply return to yourself. That is where the map to greatness has always been. Thank you for joining us on this profound, life-altering exploration of The Mountain is You. If this masterclass shattered your old limitations and ignited a fire within your soul, please hit the like button. Share this video with someone who is ready to conquer their own mind, and subscribe to The Morale. We are on an uncompromising mission to decode the world's most powerful books and arm you with the ultimate truth. We want to hear your voice. Drop a comment below and tell us, what is the one self-sabotaging habit you are choosing to destroy today? Until next time, guard your mindset, command your reality, and stay with the truth on The Morale. Thank you.